Welcome. Welcome to Let Me Out Productions and the Top Brass Out. I said, Let Me Out Productions and the Top Brass Out. All right. How about that? Some falsetto for you. There we go. I've got the chat in my site, and we're going to talk about some grievances today. Grievances that I have. I have them all laid out right in front of you, right up there. And for my hometown crowd, some of it will get pretty juicy for you. For my professional crowd, some of it will get pretty juicy for you, especially in the Sacramento Press and concerning a man named Hassan Piker. But first, let's talk about the concepts of what we're even doing. The stage is anything visible that shapes the mind. That's the stage. So when I say co-publish the stage, let's change out smiling there real quick. When I say co-publish the stage, we're collectively publishing the concept that shapes the mind, okay? So the stage can be rendered and should be rendered as a puzzle with an account for deposits of labor, deposits of effort that build the property that is shaping the mind. Does that make sense? We're going to go straight from here to the problem, which is Pokemon Go and Niantic. Okay, let's go to the news because it's just, there we go. Pokemon Go players built a 30 billion photo map that's now training your robots to deliver your pizza. Now, I already looked up the stats. Pokemon Go peak monthly users, I think it was 530 million. So let's say total players over the last 10 years since the game came out is 2 billion players across the world. That's very generous. Yeah, let's say it's 1 billion. Let's say it's 1 billion. Okay, and I don't know what the monetization of this photo map was, but let's say it's $1 per photo, $1 per image. So it's a $30 billion brain that was published by the users of Pokemon Go. You're actually a publisher of that resulting data, all of it. It's just the resulting data, and all of your phones and all of your activity built that data pool over time. They have the account for it. They're selling the account for it. They're selling it. And if it's $1 per photo, then it's a $30 billion account. So they're selling this for 30. Let's just say that's what it is, $30 billion. And so you have a billion people that published a $30 billion asset for free. And this is just the exchange now, and we're users of the technology. So the results that we publish with the technology are wholly owned by the technocracy. Is that how you would say that word? Technocracy? Technocracy, like a technocrat. So I have a couple of YouTube comments. Shout out to Courtney Wicks and Young Sheldon. If Young Sheldon is the Sheldon, is Jay Shelley. Much love, brother. So, this is the anything visible that shapes the mind. This is a stage that was collectively published by all the Pokemon Go players. The system of account for collective publishing would be units of property that reflect what you've deposited, or that title what you've deposited into the collective result. And that's exactly what we're here to talk about. So co-publish the stage. Co-publish the shelf. That's anything that's transactable. The stage is anything visible that shapes the mind. The shelf is anything that creates transactions in the economy, usually products, services, experiences. In this case, property. And the experience of developing that property. So co-publish the shelf. Co-publish each other. This is a figure, this is a figure, this is the plate, these are the morsels of food that we're putting on the shared plate. Co-publish each other. And co-publish yourself. So you just complete result after result after result after result after result. And you economy, and every result that you complete is your titled property in the publication that is earning residuals from the publication's performance. So in the case that let's just say it is a $30 billion market performance for that Pokemon Go publishing brain. The Pokemon Go data pool that's been collectively published by all Pokemon Go users over the last 10 years. Let's say that brain does pay what I have set up to be a 50% residual. So you have a billion people sharing $15 billion, assuming that the 30 billion would be considered net profit. They'd be splitting off the net profit of the gain of the collectively published asset, and the customer/user co-publisher rate is 50%, according to the musical Bear's precedent. Shove the duck up and sing on a bear. So co-publish yourself. All right. So the first grievance is, I forgot to do that a little bit with my communication intent frameworks. I developed these 3 communication intent frameworks, CIFs, to help me describe what we've been going through, what I've been going through personally on this market, and in the attempts to teach collective publishing to the world against scorn, collective sanctimony, bad information, all of that. So career, credentials, aspirations, research, experience, engagement with everything previous into the result. That's the career. Okay, I'll say it again. Credentials, aspirations, research, experience, engagement, result, career. That makes sense. So that's communication intent framework, a CIF. When you are communicating and you're communicating from a point of credentials, aspirations, research, experience, engagement, and results, it should be clear to everybody that you are communicating from that earned position. Now, are you communicating in a healthy way? Are you communicating in a way that makes other people feel good? Are you trying to make yourself feel superior? All of that's on the subplane of communication. But the communication intent framework around what you're delivering should be career. Credentials, aspirations, research, experience, engagement, result. Okay? Don't respond to a communication that comes from a career framework with crust and slime. Now, these are a little bit less academic, but crust is cynical, reactive, undercutting, sanctimonious trash. And for those who don't understand the concept of sanctimony, that's the illusion of moral or social superiority. So that's what crust, C-R-U-S-T. Again, cynical, reactionary, or reactive, undercutting, sanctimonious trash. That's crust. And then there's slime. Silly loser, I'm so important, me first. Entitlement. Don't meet somebody's credentialed, aspirational, researched, engaged, or experienced, engaged results with crust and slime. With cynical, reactionary, undercutting, sanctimonious trash. With silly loser, I'm so important, me first. Entitlement. We have to stop leverage seeking in every communication and every opportunity. That's what everybody's doing. I'm telling you, it's like this addiction that y'all have, that we have. I'm part of you. We're all part of this together. But we have an addiction as the human animal to a cycle of dopamine, serotonin, and epinephrine. I call it the DSE cycle. We seek leverage. We seek social dominance in our communication. We seek to feel sanctimonious. We seek to feel morally and socially superior to other people. And for a lot of people, it is your only priority in communication. It's the 1st through 10th priority in your communication. There's nothing else that you even perceive except for opportunities to leverage seek and put yourself up on a pedestal and tear somebody else down. So I've been subject to that for years. I've subjected myself to that for years as a behavioral scientist, but we're wrapping that up because I have to make a living, and I'm not making a living. And I'm trying to publish my information. I'm trying to publish my research from a communication intent framework of career, and it's just not being received because I keep meeting this wall of sanctimony. In some cases, I triggered it, but in some cases, I trusted the wrong people, and that's what we're going to get into with the grievances today. So, co-publish the stage, co-publish the shelf, co-publish each other, co-publish yourself, co-publish yourself, co-publish the stage, co-publish the shelf, Go publish each other. Go publish yourself. Okay. This is my resume. This is the one I send out. It hasn't changed in a minute. Okay. Yes, I can. Okay. So we'll just go through it real quick. So everybody's on board with my credentials. If you're not on board past the resume, that is up to you. I'm not here to appeal to sanctimony. I'm not here to appeal to moral and social superiority. This is credentials. This is the first layer of that communication intent framework. So my work experience, these are my titles. I'm a cognitive linguist. Cognitive linguist is a form of behavioral scientist, or cognitive scientist if you prefer, where we research the creation and delivery of meaning. So where my work intersects with the economy, value, in terms of human behavior, is a form of meaning. Does that make sense? So in my research, which is active, this is all active work right now, I have a firm called Zetian Linguistics. It's a research firm dedicated to providing AI models. This isn't the only thing that we do, by the way, but this is the thing that this can make money through right now. It's a research firm dedicated to providing AI models with descriptivist training and data sets. Our mission is to promote a more accurate and nuanced understanding of language and human experience by creating a diverse and inclusive training corpus that reflects the full spectrum of human diversity and complexity. Through our efforts, we aim to build a more equitable and inclusive AI ecosystem where all voices are heard and respected. So one of my biggest fears, and this goes back, the fear in AI is recent. My research in sanctimony goes back 10, 12 years at this point. So we have 500, 600 years of human results within the modern context, within the perceivable modern world. We're going back to the 1500s here. And a lot of those results have been produced, whether we perceive it or not, because of human sanctimony, human leverage seeking, human social dominance behavior. Okay? The illusion of moral and social superiority are producing these results. So we're feeding the results to the AIGINMs, I call them IGINs, artificial intelligence, general intelligence neural networks. IGIN is like I, and then a gin, if is like a spirit. So if you a seen spirit, IGIN. Anyway, nobody's gonna get on board with that. Just like nobody gets on board. I'm not a victim. I'm explaining myself. Let's keep focused. All right. See, therapy works, kinda. Yes. So, cognitive linguist. My number one focus is the sanctimony. I do have 3 theses I'm exploring in the field, and as far as I'm still aware, those theses are in a soft, very soft kind of like umbrella kind of sponsorship with the University of Aberdeen in Scotland. So shout out to the Quines. Is that the name of the mascot for the whole school, or is that just the a cappella group? And why would I know the name of the a cappella group? University of Aberdeen, right? They're great though. They're great. Phenomenal. I would join them if I could. I'd stand out like a sore thumb, but I'd have a blast. Okay, photojournalist. I'll do it if a player or an agency or a team or one of the leagues wants to pay me a lot and then actually like participate in the production of lens face. That's my conditions at this point. Like, I'll just put it out there. The minimum for a game, it would be 1,300. I own my shots, period. If it comes from my camera, I own the material. We can do shared license. We can do shared ownership. That's fine. We can arrange that ahead of time. If we're doing shared ownership, I'm doing triple the rate, maybe quadruple the rate. And gotta book me. Okay, we're not just doing no one game thing. I'm gonna do packages. So that's for players, that's for teams, that's for agencies. The press, sorry, I'm not interested in doing any more work in the press. I think the press is one of the most depressing things about the American ecosystem right now. That's universal, but the Sacramento issues are a microcosm. And then beyond that, I've been a media publisher and a producer for damn near 20 years. Okay. Well, 2004 was my official professional start. But 2007 was my first high-yield success, which was a music video, de facto music video for NoFX. Okay, so recent credits, I traced it back to 2010. Yada, yada, yada. Y'all can look at this. It's there. And then my education, Bachelor's of Art in Film and Digital Media Production, minor in Linguistics Phonetic Analysis, Associates of Science and Behavioral Science, and Associates of Arts and Liberal Arts. The bachelor's and minor come from UC Santa Cruz, class of 2012, and the 2 associate's degrees come from Sierra College, class of 2010. The only kind of like on this resume would be that my Swahili, Portuguese, and Mongolian are much worse than that, but that's okay. We are working on it. Everything here, like graphic design, everything should be top, but I had to show, you gotta be humble. I gotta be humble. Okay, so there's the resume. If you don't want to watch past the resume, that's on you. I'm very confident in my resume. Very confident in my credentials, my research, my experience. Sorry, my credentials, my aspirations, my research, my experience, my engagement, my results. So, there's the credential layer. The aspiration is to teach you information about collective publishing. All right, let me go to my itinerary here. Y'all need to understand what was built and what was taken. So we're going to start educational, and we're going to let y'all arrive at the injustice of the past 5 years yourself. In fact, tomorrow is the 5-year anniversary, mint-anniversary for Let Me Out Productions. Very fun, very cool. Okay, so what is co-publishing and what is a publishing title? We're going to talk about something that was supposed to change how creators own their work and the forces that buried it. So Let Me Out Productions is a publishing studio started in 2007. We were always supposed to be like this community publishing studio. And it was a place where I always intended for the creative labor to be the property of the depositor, the property of the contributor. Back in the day, back in 2007, and if you talk to, if there's any journalists out there that want to talk to some of the old heads that were involved back in the day, like Brandon O'Hagan, Brandon Riggert, those guys will tell you that my idea was to have a popsicle stick, like a cup full of popsicle sticks, and map everybody's labor, all the tasks that are involved in completing a work to this collection of popsicle sticks. And that way we could have a reflection of who owned what in the completed work. And that was harebrained back then. This is 2007. Obviously, that's no way to account for anything, but that's the spirit of the impact puzzle and of collective publishing, of massive data pools and properties right there. 2007, Let Me Out Productions. Now, originally I was producing under a studio called A Brother's Cup production in high school. So the very first works are coming from A Brother's Cup production. I shifted the brand to Let Me Out Productions in 2007. All right. And it's been my lifelong goal to establish creator equity in the film and television production industry in perpetuity, baby. So there you go. There's the resume. Let's we need to talk about 2021. Can I get rid of this? Yes. Okay. So let's talk about what. Okay. A lot of people don't even watch what I produce because I'm talking about crypto and blockchain and NFTs, which were declared as bad words, and we're going to get into how they were declared as bad words because my work precedes all of that, and I've just been ignored. So, a blockchain is a public notary service. I'm going to demonstrate that today. It's a public notary service. So public meaning everybody in the world can perceive it unless that specific blockchain is censored by their government. Everybody in the world can perceive that registration of whatever it is on the internet. A block is a stack of simultaneous user registrations. The blocks are stamped by a network of staked validators. So what that means is, like, let's say I wanted to hook my phone into the network, right? I got my phone here. Let's say I wanted to hook my phone into the network, and I wanted to stamp these blocks with everybody else and get paid a little bit off everybody's fees as my phone's just stamping the blocks and authenticating the blocks. I have to stake, it's probably like $40, $50, $60, $70, $80,000 right now against my integrity as a person and the integrity of my device to participate in the authenticity network. So now, you imagine 100,000 people doing that, which is exactly what we're talking about here. 100,000 different devices that are all stamping a block of transactions at the exact same time. That's what's going on. So that's what's happening in Ethereum. I just described a proof of stake public notary service, aka a blockchain. So the block is a simultaneous user registration that registers everybody's. Like if I send you $20 right now at 8:03 p.m. on Friday, March 20th, 2026, and a bunch of other people also use the same block at the same time code, will all be filed in the same registration. Or transactions will be separate and filed different and ledgered separately, but the actual registration will be energy stamped by the network all at one time. So that's how that works, and it's not an energy sink. I hate that narrative. That's such a bad narrative. Nobody did any research. I didn't actually prepare a tab to talk about energy, but do your own research on Ethereum's energy use and compare the energy use of the Ethereum network to the energy use of the network I'm using right now to broadcast this stream, which is the global data networks. Okay, so blockchain again, public notary, records simultaneous user transactions in stacks called blocks and keeps those blocks in a chronological chain. A non-fungible token, the NFT, is a publishing title. It's not an NFT, just like a website is not an HTML. Okay? A non-fungible token establishes a publishing title on that public notary layer of the internet, the same way HTML establishes a website. Hypertext markup languages is a technical standard, a tool that you can use on the internet to establish a website. So the same logic applies to the NFT. It's a tool that you can use to establish a publishing title on the internet. In most cases, they're going to be publishing title, which means they're titled property that is published within that non-fungible token, and then it also titles what can be further expressed with that property. A lot of property is sold with terms. So many properties are sold with terms. So you can sell your intellectual property with explicit terms on what can be further published with it. And that's why I got into this technology to begin with, because we're in the middle of the pandemic. I'm broke. My brother's missing. He's not dead yet. He's missing. His name's Giovanni, by the way. I don't want to skip over that moment without humanizing him and bringing him to life for a moment. Giovanni Lyles, a music producer, died at 28, flamed out, and ended up houseless during the pandemic, and didn't tell anybody, didn't ask for help, didn't try to lean on his family. Anyway, so I originally turned to this non-fungible token technology to make my I have probably 70,000 shots. Now, don't get me wrong, maybe 15% of them are useful, if that. But I have thousands and thousands of shots in my archive of NBA photography, and I own my work. The terms on how I can publish my work are a little bit narrow, and using a public notary service, I can publish within those narrow terms explicitly. And anybody who buys a shot of mine can also have the rights to publish within those narrow terms. But since it's on a public notary service, everybody knows that I'm doing my job of expressing my property within the narrow terms that I'm expected to express it within. Okay, so that's why I originally turned it, and then I figured, oh, I can do the popsicle stick thing. So that's March 31st this paper here, which you can read off our website, Impact Puzzles, a framework for on-chain co-publishing, describes the exact methodology for taking an intellectual property or a data pool in the tangible concept, establishing it through deed claim or some other property-defining mechanic, and in that definition, establishing that property fundamentally as what we call an impact puzzle, which is a great way to describe it. It's a puzzle-style structure that is completed through everybody's deposits of impact, a capital I material good. It's in the paper. It's in the paper. I should memorize it. It's all part of my thesis work, bro. This is my thesis work? Ooh, it's right here, my thesis, yeah! Okay, thesis number 1, sanctimonious and addictive communication behavior. We've been over that. Thesis number 2 is impact puzzle behavior establishes an equitable language of labor value. And thesis number 3 is hormonal cascade shift perception of reality in escalating states. I'm not going to talk about that one These two nobody can rip off because I'm knee deep in exclusive niche research that it would take a linguist who understands this 2 or 3 years to catch up, and that's not pinky up stuff. Even with AI struggles to understand me a lot of time. So the paper will actually walk you through it. Okay, here it is. My impact theory of value, building off Adam Smith's labor theory of value. So Adam Smith's labor theory of value is that the value of basically intellectual property, but the value of a good product, service, experience is only reflective of the value of the labor that it took to produce it. That's Adam Smith's labor theory of value, if I remember it correctly. I'm paraphrasing. So to derive from that, I have my own impact theory of value, where impact now becomes a capital I material good titled within that labor theory of value. So impact is defined as time plus liability plus expertise times rights plus process plus results. So you are depositing your time, your liability, and your expertise into a set of rights, into a process to produce a result. All of that is now titled as something that you can publish with, and titled to account for something that you have published into. Does that make sense? So that's exactly the measurable that is going into the Pokemon Go brain. Sorry to the YouTube commenters, I am not exactly paying attention to that. But shout out to Saxophone Spain and Dr. Alejandro for popping into chat. So intellectual property is community gardens, puzzles, tandem bike, we wrote together, own it together, we publish it together on a public notary service. The framework is called Impact Puzzles on the Elmo structure for tokenomics. It's the first economic language for turning collaborative creative labor into fractional, verifiable, perpetual property using blockchain as a public notary. We call it the Scalable Impact Puzzle, pronounced SIP, SIP. You drink from what you specifically pour. Anyway, read the paper. It's there. I don't want to dive into reading the paper. I want to stick to the grievances because I've got grievances, y'all. That's why you're here, to watch me get saucy and mad. All right. I'm going to close these tabs when I'm done with them so I can stay to my itinerary. Okay. I'm leaving this flag up right here. This is not true. Devin Finzer, you need to take these flags off of my property. Devin Finzer, you need to take these flags off of my property. I'll say it the third time. Devin Finzer, you need to take these flags off of my property. We're going to get to you later in the grievance episode, as you can see on the itinerary above my head. Now, we're talking about the precedent in co-publishing. This is the first ever piece that was transferred in Let Me Out Productions. It's number 5 of the 80,000 public-facing publishing titles in our brand. That forms 16% of our brand, those 80,000. So number 5 was transferred to our very first prospect over in Singapore, MetaPurse, as sort of like, this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, in the app, we're going back and forth, I'm talking about this abstract, like, collective measurement of property thing, and I want to do this to the brand, I want to do this to the show press pass, and I'm asking you for $13 million. This is what I'm talking about. So that's why I paid like 30 or 40 bucks to transfer this at the time. I paid $30 in fees to transfer this title. I'll even show y'all, because it's a public notary service. Ooh, I can even talk about how that works. Okay, so on March 31st, 2021, which was 1,815 days ago, at 5:46 p.m. at 4 milliseconds, Let Me Out Productions transferred the 5th piece of their brand to the prospect in Singapore. This is that transaction. So on the day of the transaction, can I blow this up for y'all? Yeah. I paid $38.84 to transfer this piece of property to our prospect in Singapore. And I explained why I did that. So they and you can see it's block 12 million. Everything, it has its own transaction hash, status of the transaction, which block it took place in, the actual timestamp down to the millisecond. You can go local. You can also go UTC. If you go UTC, it's going to show April 1st, 2021. And when your default's on this notary, that's what it'll show. But it's, what would that be? Midnight 46:04. But local for me, it was March 31st. So I'm on California. And you can see here's the property, and it moved to the prospect. So now I'm going to click on the block. So I clicked on the when I'm on the notary, I can just click on the transaction hash to view the transaction details, how much somebody paid, how much somebody paid to notarize, and I can click on the block, which is all of the layers, all of the transactions that happen at this exact same time. So even back, this is prehistoric use, by the way. 5:46 p.m., March 31st, 2021. We're coming up on that. 211 other users filed transactions at the same time across the world. And then 49 softwares. So when it says contract internal transaction, that means like some automation was had used this in a software or something like that, in a software written on the notary. So I'm not going to go fish my transaction out of here, but it is funny because in that first piece of property that moved. Can I scoot over? No? Yes. You know, there's people that were moving dough. Like this person here moved 30 grand. 30 grand in the same block. All right? You know what I mean? There's another one. 43 grand in the same block. That's crazy stuff. So that's a valuable block that we moved in right there, that we established the co-publishing history in. All right? So here's Craft Wine Bear on that same note. This is another precedent setter. It's the same exact co-publishing method. The difference with the Musical Bears is it's more of a community garden approach, meaning that we didn't do a deed claim to the property and inform the parameters of the property through deed claim. We just launched a community garden, set up the gate, set up the fence, set up the sign with the rules, and have been arranging plots ever since, and everybody adheres to the garden rules. So this is March 28th, 2021. Craft Mind Bear. Appropriate naming. And you can see it's made up of the esoteric of co-publishing. Co-publish the stage. Co-publish the shelf. Co-publish each other. Co-publish yourself. Yeah, okay. I don't want to be tacky, so I won't say what I want to say right now. Okay, that's Craft Mind Bear, number 9. These are precedent setters. Now, when you see this burn flag, it says this NFT has been permanently burned by being sent to a designated burn address. That's not what happens when somebody burns an NFT. This is put on there by OpenSea, these people. They put this on there like 3 years ago, and they haven't taken it off yet. I don't know how they did that, but Vitalik, you better shake your finger at them. And if you see this, all you have to do is hit Control F5. I'm going to leave this because I need this for a later segment. So I'm going to leave that up because I'll do it then. I'll remind you then. So here's Craft Mind Bear. By the way, on our website, I put links to these original pieces that moved. So March 28th, 2021. Now, fifth piece of the brand, the Meth token, was March 31st, 2021. And then 3 weeks later, you have the Bored Apes, April 22nd, 2021. For some reason, bad press, horrible journalists, people not doing their job, not perceiving time, not perceiving behavioral science and collective publishing because of skin tone, because of network abandonment, in response to what these guys were doing, which makes 0 sense to me. I'll be ashamed of yourselves. Again, grievance episode of whatever my show is called now. So this guy, Bored Ape Yacht Club number 0, right? April 22nd, 2021. They are co-publishing a brand. I'm not taking anything away from them. They have a sort of SS Totenkopf esoteric in their logo, and 3 of the 4 founders are of the tribe, we'll say. So take it up with those people. Take up your issues with these guys, with their founders, as far as what they are doing. They are simply using the same publishing tool that I am using. The tool does not represent inherently gambling. What these guys did is they took the publishing title mechanic. I didn't teach them anything. They didn't derive from me. It's a rather obvious thing to do. In 2017, there was a brand, really, co-published called CryptoPunks. And these were a bunch of, I can show you. I don't want to take time to show you. You do your own research. It's not what this is about. I don't want to get distracted. So CryptoPunks were a brand that was released in 2017. And their release strategy was 10,000 of these little human heads that had variations all at the same time. And they slowly published that supply onto the public notary, and it's seen as a historical project. So these guys just did the same thing those guys did. They printed 10,000 publishing titles on the brand of bored, degenerate gamblers that want to co-publish a yacht club. That's what a degenerate gambler, that's an ape. I'm not a degenerate gambler, so I don't know where the nomenclature comes from, but that's what I've been told. So they're bored, they're degenerate gamblers, and they want to co-publish a yacht club. So they launched the same exact supply mechanic as CryptoPunks, and then they gamble on that supply as those degenerate gamblers on the prediction market potential of what's being co-published. And they do that for 3 months, and they pump and dump these things to $1.5 million, is when Justin Bieber bought one. And I'm sitting here like, the fuck just happened? Because what we're talking about is collectively publishing property on a public notary service, not gambling on the publishing potential of what the brand is doing down the line. So anyway, you can see one of these sold in the last 24 hours for $10,700, which is crazy. I need that amount of money right now. I'm talking to my Wall Street friends. Seriously. Okay, so that's one of my major grievances with this entire approach. I perceive the public notary service that records transactions in blocks and keeps them in a chain as a public notary service that records transactions in blocks and keeps them in a chain. It's just information. We're just experiencing how something works, and we're describing the public notary through how it works. It's just information. You don't get to debate it. It's just information. It's a block is a simultaneous set of user transactions. Look at it here. Look, this block of 26. Well, we beat them in the block. We beat them in block efficiency. We have 211 users in our block. Y'all only have 27. I'm totally playing Bored Apes. Like, I'm having fun. I have zero issues with Bored Apes themselves because, for the most part, they actually co-published a yacht club. That's exactly that's what their brand statement is. That's what they went and did. Do I love the punch down at minority esoteric? Of course not. I'm Afro-Indigenous, but we ain't going to go there. So you can see here, mined by Nanopool. I don't know what Nanopool is. Let's just say it's 100,000 users across the world that formed this Nanopool and mined this block. So every transaction in here that paid a gas fee to register the block, that's who they paid it to. And their gas fee to mint the thing was probably pretty high, to be honest. Yeah, see, you paid $740. Anyway, so that's when they were officially published on the public notary. If you are a journalist, it's your responsibility to report newsworthy information to the public, and you have not done that. You just haven't done that. You've ignored newsworthy information because of what I talked about earlier. Sanctimony, the addiction to dopamine, serotonin, and epinephrine that you get in a cycle from experiencing social leverage over somebody else. It's ridiculous. So you guys have been using an antecedent publication to experience social leverage against the precedent and not talking about the precedent like it's some fucking high school class. It's real world history. Sorry, let me get composed. This is grievance episode though. So we're going to close these tabs out. Again, it's all on the website. I'm going to keep this one open. Craftmine. I'm Craftmine. Sweet, that's mine. The only place in pieces is my pastime. I don't know. Do you guys don't have a song published across from the publishing title? They have a lot of things published across from various publishing titles, so let's not go there with them. They're great. Outside of the, this little thing, the SS token comp. Can I open that? No, it's too small. I told them I'd work with them if they changed that. I don't find that funny at all. Okay, let's get to segment 2. We got through segment 1, everybody. Just as a summary, 3 weeks after March 31st, Bored Ape Yacht Club launches. That makes Bored Ape Yacht Club an antecedent co-publication. It came after. It is a speculative gambling product dressed in the same technology. Here's the difference between a library card and casino trip. One of those should not define how blockchain was understood. one of those should define how was understood. One of those should not. So we're looking. It is the difference between a casino, like a library card, and a casino chip. That's a good way of putting it. Claude, that's helping me with my itinerary. Okay. The element structure versus what the market decided to see. We're going to help you all understand that the confusion between co-publishing and speculation was not an accident. It was accelerated by everything that followed these mints, okay? So in 2021, I personally developed PressPass co-publishing across from a MetaPurse prospect. Here's PressPass. It's on presspass.fandom.com. This is an active co-publication. We don't give up on things just because we didn't get out of the gate the same way everybody else got to get out of the gate, seemingly. I would say probably 98% of the people that tried to co-publish using non-fungible tokens on the blockchain got shot down by the rest of y'all because of what Bored Apes were doing, which is just so stupid. We're going to get to why. We're going to get to the zeitgeist brain formation because that's a thing. So, PressPass all... where's my main page? Let's go to the main page. PressPass All Access is an intellectual property franchise of Kamani Okira's personal design and creation. Every team name, colorway, and historical through line and rule set of the game were established without artificial intelligence. I've been developing this world since 2016 alongside Lensface. The logos are all painted pixel by pixel by myself, one of the world's crappiest graphic designers since 2004. I forgot I put that in there. So true. Now, AI is ethically used to support our formatting goals and for character concept art. All concept art prompts are anchored and inspired by Theodore Jericho, the man who painted the most Muppet-looking self-portrait in the entire Romantic movement. True. He looks like a Muppet. Theodore Jericho, baby. We love you, Theodore Jericho. All right, so good old Teddy Wallcrumble, may you live forever. If you're not already sold on a co-published sports documentary, go away. Ride your sanctimony pony or your high horse right on out of here. Huff it. Swing on a bear. This year co-publication is for those who love to collaborate on canonical curiosities, maniacal mysteries, and perhaps more than one irrelevant ellipses. Got 'em! Cognitive Linguistics. Season 1, version 1 publishing title. Market rate should be $65 if we're trying to meet our 2021 budget ask for shooting a tier 1 streaming video on demand series, which has basically 10x'd because of union negotiations. But I'm here for the challenge. So is Hollywood. Y'all have left me alone on this. I really appreciate that. Some of y'all tried to bite, but this is such a hard thing to bite. Okay, notable fan and ecosystem professionals. I'm not going to get into PressPass, but the point is to talk about it a little bit. So I developed this whole co-publishing ecosystem and world, story world, lore, all of this stuff deeply. Okay, we're in 2021, so I put 5 years into this already. I had done 2 80-year simulations through NBA 2K, where I meticulously managed every team in both 80-year simulations to get a great sense of what generational lore looked like in this world. And so I bring that to MetaPurse in 2021, and we're trying to figure out a great way. Like, the lore game hadn't been established yet. The way that you actually co-publish the lore in the archive and the way that we produce scenes together hadn't been established yet. But I had tried to bring a team together, 60 people from my career early in March. This included, I'm going to only say names that are still attached. So this includes Luke Baratz, Johnny Taylor Jr., Alex Kahn, Aaron Apodaca, why am I blanking? Oh, Devin Blankenship, of course. Justin Sheldon. Troy Tapia. Max Lopez. I can't name off all 60 of y'all. Also, some of y'all have left the project, and that's okay. But leaving is leaving, and that's leaving. So the opportunity is going to somebody else. Period. Okay, so we bring this to MetaPurse in 2021. And I'm asking for them to buy 10% of season 1, facilitate the collective publishing through their software, through their interface, through, they handle that. They handle the audience side. We're going to take the $13 million they're going to give us for that 10% and go shoot the season. Now, with their 10%, they're going to develop some sort of shelf that will then share with the show. But that shelf prospect was going to be a much higher earning potential than the spend of the $13 million. And the way that we have organized that is the Press Pass co-publishing method called the lore game. So it's tabletop role play. It's not Dungeons and Dragons. So, but there is character sheets, and you level up through basically emotional conflict management. That's put together by a cognitive linguist. It's so fun. We will talk about that on a later stream on a later day. So now we're talking about number 1 on the grievance list, Tyan and Rom. That's what we're going to talk about right now. I invite 2 people to help lead the project of Press Pass. This was an idealistic mistake, and I ignored the reality of those 2 people. Simply put, Tyan and Rom have been snorting cocaine every weekend, if not like all week as well, for the past, since they've been adults, since they were 20 years old each person. And so now I'm 31, inviting these 2 30-year-olds, right? So they've been doing it for 10 years at this point, into this project. And what do? It's actually very frustrating, and it's hard for me to talk about. So I'm going to leave Gary V to say it. We're going to close the Press Pass tab, and Gary V had already found a great way of putting it. So let's listen to Gary V talk about what Tyan and Rom did. And if you're from my hometown, I'm switching you get it. Tyan and Rom.
When the fuck did we all decide that we were God? People are literally walking around Earth like they think their fucking opinions are the fucking end-all be-all, and they need to fucking spread it near and wide on everyone's comet. I'm not trying to impose my will on people. I'm just putting out what I believe and let the chips fall. Other people are going around and just shitting on things, and they think they're doing something. They're not doing anything. They're reacting to other people's doing, and they think the shitting on it is their contribution. They're doing nothing. I've watched this happen pre-social media. I had a family of 2 very opposites. People are about to get to 70, 80-year-olds and realize they did nothing in their life besides shit on other people's dreams. That's great. Congrats. Hope you enjoyed that run on your only time on Earth. What a fucking pathetic point of view. When the fuck did we all decide that we were...
That sums it up. I bring my credentials, my aspirations with Press Pass, my research, my experience, my research, my engagement, my experience, and my results. I think I got engagement and experience mixed up there. And at the time, I thought these guys were my best friends. The again, idealistic perspective that I should have let go of 5 years before that, at least. And all of the young kids out there, like I call you a kid, you're not a kid. Young adults, like your young 20s, and you're nailing down your credentials, or you have them already, and now you're pursuing your aspirations. I've chased the dragon and I've rode the dragon. 10 years in the NBA, if that's all I got in media publishing, that is more than most people get. So that is a blessing. When you take what I've done and you say to some, like let's just pick a random country, Indonesia, and you pick some young hyper NBA fan in Indonesia, and you present them what I got to do in my career, they lose their mind. There's people that would kill me to experience what I've got to experience in my career. So the aspirations of chasing the dragon. Like the thing that I haven't gotten to do yet is like direct major Hollywood films, and that's probably the last dragon that I'm gonna chase, so to speak. And if I never get to do that, that's okay. I have the whole Ethan Hawke perspective on media publishing and the entertainment product. One, we make toys. We're not special. We make toys. We distract people. We feel good. We teach them. We challenge their thinking. We create debate. We make toys. But that's what the toy does. It's a thinking toy. That's what we do. So we're not that important. We're supposed to provide a service to society as those toy makers. And as Ethan Hawke put it, He's like, hey, if the industry calls on you to be a teacher of a community college at 60 years old, and running like a community theater or running a community stage, and that's not good enough for you, you need to get out of the craft. Because the thing is, we have to find the way to achieve those aspirations. My original aspiration, you go ask 12-year-old me, I wanted to be in the NBA. I want to play. Okay? I'm not Isaiah Thomas. I met him. He is shorter than me. R-E-I-T. No, I think maybe he'll remember. Maybe not. These guys meet thousands upon maybe, hundreds of thousands of people. But we had a cool little moment right after he was drafted in Sacramento, where he was sort of asking me about things around Sacramento out in the parking lot. It was just us two. And I was just thinking, dang, dude, you're the shortest NBA player I've ever seen in my life. Because he was under me, man. I'm 5'11", so I got a couple inches on him. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So, point is, my aspirations, I know how to achieve aspirations. I know how to network to achieve them, and I got to a point where I feel very comfortable taking what I've done and saying, if that's it, if that's all the industry wants me to do, and y'all want to play the games that y'all play, and y'all know what I'm talking about the rest of the time, do that. I can move on. I do have the poll in the podium over co-publishing, so what do you do with that? Okay. Co-publishing requires trust infrastructure, merchants, deed claimants, collective publishers acting in good faith. When the first interior circle breaks, the ripple is not just financial, it's reputational and directional. That's exactly what happened to me. So the friends that I chose, these are bad choices, idealistic choices of people that I should have thought about and knew that they were not mentally equipped to show up for the moment that I asked them to show up for. But I put them in that position and forced my ideals on them. Everything broke down after that. So reputation, direction, all the early momentum in the pioneer use cases, everything. And once we lost it, the market moves on, and gets poisoned, which is exactly what happened. So here's the thing. I'm asking for $13 million against Press Pass Season 1, 10% of Press Pass Season 1. Now, if you go into Shark Tank, you have my career resume, and you ask for $13 million against 10% of a season of television that's not made yet, you're getting thrown out of the room in a bag. It's a crazy ask. But with MetaPurse in Singapore, the way that I was trying to get them to understand it is it's a low-risk purchase because you're not purchasing property to govern and steward and be responsible for. Well, in a way that you are. But the portion of the property that you're purchasing is all in the lore. I guess we should look at it a little bit. All right. Okay. The Press Pass lore game, aka the P-Plug, is a collaborative storytelling experience set in the fictional sport-punk universe of Press Pass All Access. Season 1 co-publishes and co-produces the lore of the Basketball Syndicate of America. It's created by Kamani O'Gara and published by Let Me Out Productions. The lore game is the facility for property developers known as lore producers to contribute to the official canon of the Press Pass Season 1 Impact Puzzle. By collecting pieces and using them to create characters they own, they can co-publish chapters of team lore through tabletop roleplay and co-producing content around the United canon. Lore producers shape the history of the BSFA while positioning their resulting developments for market success within terms. The Press Pass lore game is a scalable impact puzzle built on the ML structure for tokenomics. It combines elements of role-playing, intellectual property ownership, and blockchain technology to create a unique, community-driven perspective. Lore producers collaborate to develop the lore of the BSFA, the professional basketball league, in an alternate reality where fantasy, sports, media, and culture intersect in unexpected ways. So you participate by equipping yourself with a wallet on the blockchain. Wallet's fine. It's more of a safe with like a dial, but wallet's fine. You collect your puzzle pieces, which cost money. They cost, you're buying a piece of property to publish with. You create a fandom account for now. We're just gonna use what Jimmy's built. Now, I want to be clear. I'm not an infrastructure guy. I'm a perceivable structure guy. So the infrastructure folks are people like Jimmy Wales, who's the guy behind Wiki and Fandom. So we're co-publishing right now using the Fandom build, and it's perfect. It's open. Everybody can account for who's changing what on what page. And we can revert edits and all this stuff. And ideally speaking, there's a lot of sinew to be offered between this and blockchain. So you create a character, you join the lore chapter, you attend your lore parties. Each lore chapter, 7 lore parties in a row, and then you submit content based on what you've role played at the table. The content goes in the mockumentary archive, and then we farm that archive for actual flashbacks, references, and memes in the show. And then every single flashback in the archive, every lore scene as we call them, forms like a digital trading card with 1,000 editions. So if you go sell, if you choose, okay, I made my trading card, and you go sell it for $5, the thing sells out. You're getting 50%, like I was saying earlier, the precedent's 50% of the co-publishing. You're getting 50% of the per edition sale. So if it's $250 an edition, that's $2,500. Now, when you publish that position, so you go through the tabletop, you role play, you go film a scene based on your tabletop outcome, and that scene is now a trading card. You have published a $2,500 or more potential position in that shelf, in that co-published shelf. That position is called a shoved duck. You've lined your duck in a row by publishing that position. So you just keep doing that, especially in AI. Especially we're contributing to it. But look, Wall Street's all up my ass. Okay, they need to give me money. All right. They're looking at this work very seriously, and I need my colleagues and my locals to understand that a good show of force in the work will demand this because it's sensible. It makes sense. Collectively publishing the brains of AI makes sense. So accounting for whose data is doing what and every transaction produced from an AI output makes sense. You're looking at the accounting behavior behind all of that. Collective publishing. So my grievance again is that the science is buried by a bunch of antecedent gambling and bullshit, and sanctimony against the antecedent gambling bullshit. This grievance, segment 2, is based on my hometown friends being selected to help me with this $13 million prospect, and they don't show up to a single meeting. The people over in Singapore notice, so I'm saying, hey, I'm one of 3 people, and I'm the only one showing up to anything. I'm the only one on the email threads. I'm the only one. So Tyan and Rom abandoned me. And as Tyan would go on to put it, after my brother Giovanni passes away, and Tyan tells me that I'd be better off if I never knew my brother, which pissed me off to the point, he said that this project was all about my ego. And that's why he hasn't been helping. And that was in June after the prospect had folded. And as he was voluntarily leaving Let Me Out Productions and Press Pass and everything, that's Tyan. And then Rom would shortly follow. So there you go. Y'all should ask what happens when a $13 million proof of a concept is killed by the people brought in to protect it. The vacuum is filled by something louder, shinier, and wrong. That's exactly what happened. So, my grievance with Tyan and Rom is I'm public about it. I've been very public about it. I chose 2 guys that have been snorting their brains out sideways with cocaine, and they can't form functional positive thoughts in their brain anymore. And so they shouldn't be selected to be a part of an aspirational team, especially in leadership and foundational positions. That's my bad. I knew that. I knew that when I made that choice. So I made idealistic choices because I wanted better outcomes for them and their families. I grew up with these people. And I know that their parents did not put their life's work of raising these kids for them to be doing cocaine their entire adult lives. That's not what happened. That's not what their parents did. So I tried to position them using my career in a better position that sort of shortcutted them away from all of that other crap. And you know what? I'm glad that we didn't have these barnacles on, because what do you think they would have done with the success? It's dumb. Okay, so they have to confront that part of their journey on their own. I'm not going to help them with that. I've already tried. I've spent so much time. I spent basically $13 million trying to help them with that. And that's out of idealism. So I want to finish my point talking to the young 20s. You have aspirations. You just earned your credentials, or you're earning your credentials. You're doing your research. And you never stop doing your research. I do research every day. Never stop doing your research. You're gaining your experience. Never stop gaining your experience. Be proud of the experiences you gain, but never stop gaining experience. You engage with all of those credentials, aspirations, research, experience, and you're producing results. When you have your results and you're taking them to the market, you're creating a value statement for yourself. And the layer one of your value statement is your friends and your family, the people that know you the best. And if they're not willing to show up and support you and declare with you that you have the value, that your credentials, your aspirations, your research, your experience, your engagement, your results state that you do, they're not willing to back that up, then everybody else who comes along after can enslave those results for themselves. That's exactly what has happened to collective publishing. And it started with Tyan and Rom setting the stage and setting the culture, the vibe. And they did this to punish. That's why it's such a personal thing. Tyan specifically is the guy that, I went to college with the guy. He has a film degree as well, and he was a year behind me throughout this journey. And he goes down to LA after I go to LA. I spent a year in LA. I worked for the Young Turks. I get fired from the Young Turks over some BS. I didn't like it, so I come up to Sacramento to try to build some grassroots stuff in Sacramento. I've been here ever since. Tyan goes to LA, stays in LA, and just parties the whole time, as far as I perceive it. It doesn't actually take a career in show business seriously at all, and just is trying to get into parties and get to know people through parties. And you know what? That's honestly 95% of you fucking clowns down there. God, no, I hate LA so much. Not the native Angelinos. They're great. People that are born and raised LA. I love those folks. Those folks, I rock with all of them. All of them. We're talking about the weirdos like Tyan that come in from way out of nowhere, go down there and treat it like a party town, party culture all the time. They're not even taking their career seriously. They're not even trying to finish any results. They're just trying to be seen with the famous people, or get to know these famous people, get plugged into things, get plugged into rooms they really shouldn't be in. They haven't earned it through credentials. They haven't earned it because it's their aspiration. They haven't done the research. They don't have experience. They're not adding any experience to the table. They don't engage with anything because they're not bringing anything to the table, and they don't have any results. Again, 95% of Hollywood. All right, and so yeah, Tyan and Rom gleefully killed the $13 million press pass prospect that would have changed everybody's life. Everybody in my immediate purview's life. Unfortunately, my brother died April 10th, 2021, as far as I remember. I think it was the 10th. And that's 2 weeks after I launch everything. So I was immediately put into a major state of depression, and instead of lifting me up and trying to support me through that, my friends wound up their feet and took swings at my side. And they did that because they were trying to punish me for the NBA stuff. That's really it. So kicking a dude while he's down. They're also, I'll be honest, these guys, as I grow older, I realize it more and more and more how deeply racist they are. And how many of their actions, how much of their violence, how much of their mental violence towards me simply comes from trying to keep somebody in a perceived state, as perceived class. And when I'm on the sidelines of the NBA and I'm talking to Chris Webber and I'm interviewing, LeBron James in the locker room, I'm not part of that perceived class that these hometown people are trying to force, and I'm over there saying I'm not better than anybody for these things. What we're describing is the measurable of what you bring to the table. That's it. So if what I bring to the table is immeasurable and it's valuable, then that's that. If what you bring to the table is not measurable and it's not valuable, that's also that. But you don't go around and enslave what I bring to the table to your crust and slime. Remember. Cynical, reactionary, undercutting, sanctimonious trash. Silly, loser, I'm so important, me first entitlement, crust and slime. And that's what's happened with Tyan and Rom, and they go around gleefully denigrating my credentials around the hometown, and everybody's sick of it, too. That's what's hilarious. I get calls from the rednecks up there. I say that with love. I'm a redneck, too. All right, dreadneck. And I get calls from the rednecks up there asking me, hey, man, what's going on? Because they all know. None of them do coke. That's the thing. They drink beers and stuff, but they don't. The town isn't a coke town. These individuals that I'm discussing have tried to make it a coke town. They have maybe 150 people that they've put on this poison throughout the last 15 years now, 16 years. It's a concern. So, I can't stand cocaine. I've told everybody before, that's my major disability. I was born on something called prenatal cocaine exposure, and we will get into that, actually. So I don't want to distract myself. We get through the segment. Best friends betrayed me when I tried to launch the show. Discussed amongst themselves that it was ego, and then abandoned the life-changing opportunities to set the market precedent as co-publishing with a tier 1 streaming video on demand co-published TV show. Okay, so that's segment 2. This is our founding team now. We don't have the problem that we did in 2021. This is who I should have chosen from day one anyway. So you have myself, you have Erin Apodaca, a producer I've worked with since 2017, and she always shows up. So after I was traumatized by 2 guys that weren't showing up for anything at all, I'm like, Erin, you always show up to everything. Every time you're asked, every time you're on every time anything's scheduled, you're there, and there's not excuses. And she's there on time, and she's there producing positivity. She's there with the best ideas. I encourage Hollywood, please, somebody come hire her away from Press Pass early, a little warm up, and then and get her paid. You know what I'm saying? I don't mind. I'm trying to get going this year, but market forces are market forces. And then there's Aniket Melvin. He's one of my best friends from college, UC Santa Cruz. We were in the same TKE fraternity, and he is a high level project manager. So my issues were project management and people showing up to represent the business in a positive way. So what do? We swapped out the idealistic choices, and we put in professional choices. And that was done June of 2021, and they've stuck with the program ever since. So for transparency purposes, I'm at 23.4% ownership of Let Me Out Productions as a property. Aaron's at 19%, and Nick is also at 19%. So that's our each individual founder ownership stake in the actual impact puzzle that's being published. Which means if you want to think of how the work that I'm doing to publish the brand, I only own 23.4% of that work. But I understand that it's advancing the position, and then the rest of everybody are going to come in and fill that other void and make that balance up. So that's the anticipation, and that's where we land there. So we're done with segment 2. All right, let's get to segment 3. Okay, segment 3. Okay. There's these individuals, and they are going to get named, full name, because they caused me problems, and they caused everybody problems. So, early in the day, so I already walked you through the Tyan and Ram bullshit where the 2 best friends weren't showing up to the prospect of Metaverse, 13 million. So, I'm having trouble finding a way to represent Let Me Out Productions and this behavior we're trying to establish in collective publishing. Clubhouse releases an app. Clubhouse releases their Android app in May of 2021. So in May of 2021, I go on Clubhouse. I'm hearing people are discussing what non-fungible tokens are. That's where Bored Apes Yacht Club took off, was on Clubhouse. They hadn't taken off yet at the time that I joined, mind you. They were in the process of rolling into that major limelight position. And I joined Clubhouse in May of 2021. Apparently, there's this lady named Jordan Bain who started a Clubhouse room on Wednesday, February 24th, or February 23rd, 2021, whichever one you want to go with. But I got the screenshot, February 23rd, 2021. Her Clubhouse room is the Pre-Berlinale European Film Market Meetup. So this is a film festival. I'm assuming it's in Berlin. I don't know what the hell. But the Berlinale, and she's sitting there with her friend, and going to talk about the event. All right, just remember that for a moment. So now at this point in time, I've already gone industry soft viral for co-publishing. Everybody thinks it's batshit. Perfect. All right, so this is the star meter from. I don't have IMDb Pro right now, or I'd go directly to the site. But you can go if you have IMDb Pro. You can go. So this is after I wrote. So this is at the time that I wrote. I published the paper, or I started the paper, I should say, February 19th, 2021. So right before I start the paper, my star meter on IMDb is appropriately 2.1 million, which means that, like, of all the names in American showbiz, or maybe in global showbiz even, I'm the 2.1. This is my point of interest, which is appropriate. Okay, so I write the paper, I send it out, it circulates. This is between April and May, April 11th through May 9th of 2021. This is as it's circulating. If you're like, I sent it to the Smosh gang. I sent it through Barry. I don't know if I got it to Barry this early. John Goldberg at WPA definitely had it by now. So it was being circulated. It was a 13 or 14 page paper called The Almost Structure for Tokenomics. And it was just simply saying, hey guys, do this. Write a deed to your property, make it a co-publishing vessel of unique pieces that produce unique outcomes, and we can greenlight our assets this way. And really, it's to this day, there's not real great infrastructure for that. I don't view that as my role as a publisher, as the infrastructure layer, but we are building some. We're forced to. That's what capitalism does. Anyway, so May 9th, this is 3 weeks before I go on Clubhouse. I'm rated 351,000 in U.S. showbiz, and I promise you, I've never belonged there. Like, depending on how you look at it, the biggest thing I've worked on would be The Bachelor or the NBA. Like, depending on how you look at it. So I never belong 351,000. But I'm going across the pond with the notion of collective publishing on the blockchain. So remember, this 4 week high between April 11th and May 9th is 351,000. This is before I ever teach anybody on Clubhouse collective publishing on the blockchain. So that brings us back to this lady, Jordan Bain, in this Clubhouse room. So, like I showed you, May 2021, I've gone industry soft viral, as far as I'm concerned, for the Elmo co-publishing method. I showed you what my appropriate rating is, way lower than 2 million, and I showed you my spike, which is 351,000. I take it to Clubhouse, a live audio app, and I teach my Pioneer Elmo structure paper openly. And this is the paper that I'm teaching. It was originally like an SOP, a standard operating procedure. You can see here on this screener, and I don't ever load this I'm willing to load it for journalists and stuff, but I don't load it on stream because it has the names of Tyan and Rom in the paper, and I don't want them coming along saying, oh, we were instrumental in this. No, you weren't. You damaged it. You did nothing but damage it. So, but anyway, because we're in the market poll and podium, that's something that I need to keep behind closed doors and all of that. But March 22nd, 2021, 9:27 a.m. Was when the first sort of public paper was put out there. We're cinematic storytelling development and production house in Sacramento, California, using non-fungible tokens as an internal platform utility to manage distribution and ownership rights to our assets, share project success with collaborators, and finance the endeavors of our collective. Our platform is a professional resource collective designed as sustainable meritocracy built on blockchain. We're founded in 2007 with the goal of establishing a new standard for creator equity in film and TV production. A group of many people producing collective work should all share in the perpetual profits generated by that work. As I just explained in Pokemon Go, as we're all experiencing in every AI brain that we're all contributing to unwillingly. Because honestly, the Congress, our leaders don't have an accounting system they can argue for until this. This is the accounting system they can demand that the citizens' labor and the citizens' contribution to what's being published is their titled piece of that publication using an impact puzzle. So March 22nd, 2021 is what the paper will show. Like a big advanced chunk of development. So I had been writing that since December of 2020, but I think I was like 2 pages in until that day. And then I showed you this all live on chain, but this is the screenshot. March 31st, 2021 is the first piece of the brand. Now, this lady, Jordan Bain, goes along and starts. Now, she immediately accuses me of crimes. here's the collective publishing method. She says our co-publishing method is an offering of unregistered securities, and I would definitely be arrested for felony wire fraud. Now, Jordan Bain's using her Clubhouse room that she started. She turned this into a weekly chat, and she eventually focused that chat after 2 or 3 months of this existing into a chat room about blockchain and non-fungible token potential. And then in that chat room, I taught everybody else my perspective on NFT potential, and she immediately tried to enslave it to herself. So she accused me of felony wire fraud, and then said that because my model had publishers owning their titled property, like owning their contribution as titled property, it was an unregistered offering of securities. Now, securities is a secure deposit of value with expected gains wholly to be raised from labor of others, which is an investment. So like a stock. You buy a stock or a bond or some sort of intangible asset you're depositing money into, and you expect the value of your deposit to gain without any further involvement at all. That's a secure deposit of value that's inherent on the labor of others for a gainful outcome. That's what she was saying I was selling with publishing titles. And then she said that in order to fix the model that had this problem of felony wire fraud, you had to change the word ownership to membership, and you had to sell membership instead. And you can't publish anything. No membership should publish any result. That's fundamental to the property existing, or to the shared stage and shelf of the property. So she completely undid the work while naming herself architect of it. I swear to God. Okay? This work. Because I taught her late May what we were doing. A little bit. Just a tiny bit of what we were doing. So then she says, so she goes and tries to call all of collective publishing of media Film 3. She tried to steal somebody else's idea for like a movement name, which his name is Shane, aka Tassafila. Tassafila came up with this idea of calling the movement of film producers into Web3 technology Film 3. And Jordan Bain immediately steals that idea from him and goes around telling everybody it's her idea. She claims that it's a cultural cornerstone, this clubhouse room here. The creative studio founded in February 2021 by filmmaker Jordan Bain. Again, she claims this is a creative studio founded in 2021. And they are the original Web3 media collective producing content on Web3 and film, and the originators and chief architects of the Film 3 movement, which would be the co-publishing movement using non-fungible tokens to collectively publish property. Except for they're not the originators and the chief architects of the co-publishing movement at all. That would be me. They enslaved me in real time with broadcast fraud. Broadcast fraud. They're on a public radio network, which would be a clubhouse room, lying their asses off. This is Jordan Bain and Jason Charnick is the guy's name. These are two guys. These two people. It's a Freudian slip. And one's a lady, one's a man. But these two people colluded on this narrative that Jordan was the architect of everybody's work, not just mine. Every pioneer. Okay. So they were broadcasting this loud, like a church bell, in the early market. So what happens is, in a collective publication, in a brand anyway, in a deed-claimed brand or a deed-claimed property, you have the deed that establishes what we're all publishing. And if you're a prospective customer, especially at scale, definitely read the deed to make sure that's a property you actually want to publish. And that's property you want to purchase and publish. Like, that's what the deed is for. And then, as you can see here, each piece of the puzzle is unique for a unique outcome. It's a unique presence in the plot. Like, think of a community garden. Each plot would be uniquely present in the community garden. 1 is different from 2. 2 is different from 3. Maybe you're both growing carrots. Maybe 1's growing begonias. Maybe 4 is growing grapes. Maybe the community garden has rules on what you can specifically grow because the soil needs to be treated a certain way, or we're in this season. But it's the same thing. So each individual unit of the property is grown and published separately to form the united body. And you're looking at the accounting behavior of every AI brain, of every brand, product, service, experience, distributed assets, set of logistics, hardware, software, etc. So this is co-publishing. Ownership. Publishing ownership of what you're publishing into the brand. Now, company ownership token. This is very deliberate language. Company as a word exists to mean eat bread together. Seriously. Com is the Latin root that means together. Com, together. Pan is it means bread. In this case, it's the French origin for bread, but we're also talking about Spanish and Portuguese. Pan, maybe even Italian. Pan. So compan is bread together. Ownership is the state of having authority over. When you own something, you have authority over that thing. So you have authority over, and token would be your proof or your title, your right to, your notarized proof of. So you have authority over, your notarized proof of eating bread together. Company ownership token. Very deliberate language. So that idiot decided to slaughter me on radio and try to steal my idea, even though it was published in front of everybody and publicly notarized in front of everybody. And she said that instead of buying a piece, our brand pieces publish 15 different outcomes. The one that is most popular is the development service, because a lot of y'all don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. So you want to take your tangible IP and turn it into an impact puzzle for co-publishing. Buy a piece of our brand, go through the experience of being a customer first, plug that piece into the property development spaces, develop your own deed. We have a 50, 70 benchmark process. You can do it with AI now. Just like answer the questions, and it's a different process if you're doing a brand or franchise versus like product service experience. There's different processes, but they're both there. They're available. So you go through that service. You'll develop your own deed, and you'll launch your own impact puzzle for co-publishing, and you can take that to market. The only person to do that so far is Zion Tedese, who's also our patron. But I'm not putting that on this stream because, again, it's a grievance stream. So the 15 ways our pieces develop out of the brand. We have the learn how to develop your own, develop your own deed and launch it. Sovereign, no kickbacks to us. There's no regressive taxes, nothing. We enjoy the brand benefit of having certified your deed and certified it from the Alamo structure perspective. Number 2 is the official brand puzzle piece collaboration. You buy one, you make one. I'm not going to sit here and make. There's 80,000 in the public-facing supply of the brand. I wasn't going to make all 80,000. I might make $2,000 of these total. We'll see. But yeah, you buy one, you make one. You select on the schedule which one you're making. But if let's say you're making. If Josh was the last one to make one, so he picked number 405 on the schedule. So his piece will be released within the window mechanics at 0.405 Ethereum, and if it sells, he'll receive 0.2025 Ethereum. There's no guarantee it'll ever sell. There's no guarantee it'll be released. The window mechanic has to slide to accommodate his release. But he chose his spot off the schedule, knowing everything. So what would that be, like $300-$400 right now? So yeah, see his shoved duck across from his number 2 official catch and release in the brand is like $300-$400. So if you end up with the number 405 in the brand, you own Josh's piece. It's pretty cool. Top brass DAO access and governance, limited content access, airdrops and swag, assignment of 0.0002% ownership of Let Me Out Productions brand indeed. The official merchandise collaboration. You have the right to identify our affiliate as a part owner or member of the Top Brass DAO. It's a professional affiliation. You have Story World Seed for IP puzzle development, collection benchmark achievements, custody insurance, personal agency deed, template access and enforcement. Right to pitch intellectual property puzzles for launch pads and official platform support. Rights to specific marks of trade and full non-disclosure agreement for your development. Everybody has this set of processes and rights and services that they step into when they are buying and developing their publishing title in our community brand. The Bainstain, as I call this person, decided on their fraudulent radio broadcast that the plots should not be owned, they should be memberships, and they can't express anything into the brand. So I asked AI, what does the company ownership token do? Be thorough and specific, listing every detail. Do not speculate. Search all information, including their website and the deed to Let Me Out Productions IP. Keep it short and simple. Only answer about the company ownership token of Let Me Out Productions. Do not rep Roots Film 3 or the Squad. Right? So it spits out exactly what the publishing titles do in the brand of Let Me Out Productions. Ask the same question for the membership pass of this brand that decided to compete with us using fraud. And it says the squad member pass details are not readily available in the search results provided, blah, blah, blah. However, I can suggest blah, blah, blah. So they don't do anything. And they defrauded, I think, around 280 people into buying their bullshit to the tune of about $70,000. So it's not enough for like the federal government to necessarily get involved, but because it's such a historical moment, it's very interesting. So let's go back to our token. March 31st, 2021. Jordan Bain decided on her radio broadcasting publicly, that this was an unregistered security and I was definitely going to be arrested and prosecuted for felony wire fraud. And so she was broadcasting that since she heard of it in late May of 2021. So 2 months, 3 months of market time without Jordan Bain. And they took a year and a half after that point of calling everybody else criminal and reinventing their work. And not just me. It was not just me. I'm only talking about myself because I'm limited to my experience. I don't want to talk about other people. But it wasn't just me. I was just the first throat they cut. They took a year and a half of sitting up on a clubhouse room or in Twitter spaces, accusing people of crimes, pretending to fix the crimes of the people that they were accusing, and treating that like they were defining market authority. And they sold that defining market authority as fraud. Remember this date, August 23rd, 2022. I say remember that date because there's a guy named Jacob Volsky that joined Let Me Out Productions. And if you're part of our team, you'll remember him because, do I have that here? Would it be under? Here it is. So when we did our first publishing title drop for Press Pass to co-publish Press Pass, Volsky sabotaged that drop. He brought in the Jordan Bain narrative that I was a felony wire fraudster, and he killed this thing that we had planned since before he joined the team. This is something that Luke, myself, Aaron, Troy, Jazz, Max, Sean's in the clip with me, Star. We all worked on this for 3 months before we did the drop. And Jacob, who had only been part of our team for 1 month, killed it by talking about me as though I were a felon. And he kept on switching the conversation back to that. And I got so mad. It was probably the maddest I've ever been because I realized what he was doing in real time. Anyway, this guy, Jacob Volsky, right? He goes and launches this. The same thing. It's a relic of membership. He joined the narrative that ownership was wire fraud. They had to replace it with membership. And so you have the squad membership pass, the Film 3 squad, August 23rd, 2022 is when they dropped. And then you had Jacob Volsky's rip-off membership pass, August 23rd, 2022. They dropped within an hour and a half of each other. So they colluded the entire time to remove me from the pole and the podium position over my life's work in cognitive linguistics and media publishing, to put themselves in because they accused me of fraud and changed the ownership to membership. And for some reason, a lot of people supported them. But that some reason is racism. And Jordan Bain, Jason Charnock, Jacob Volsky, and Chris Hackett is the fourth character in that parade of slop. We call them Stain, Joke, Fart. Stain, Fart, Joke, and Wacky. So Bain is the stain, Charnock is the fart, Volsky is the joke, and Hackett is the wacky. None of them need to be on any set of anything ever. Am I clear? This is... And Devin Finzer, this needs to be gone from the website. This needs to be gone. This is fraud. I want to be clear that this is fraud. This guy, Jacob Volsky, we think this represents over $700,000 in consumer fraud, is what he pulled off. Now, with him, it appears to be that he got hundreds of thousands of dollars of private investment, then washed that private investment through his tokens to make them appear like they sold out. So this, but as you can see, if 7,341 publishing titles in a brand sold out, and only 12.2% of those, like 12.2% of the ownership is unique, That means there's a lot of owners that own a lot of these publishing titles, which means that he bought them himself. He washed investor funds on a public wire, which is exact. So they accused me of wire fraud and they committed wire fraud, both of them. Jacob Wolski, Jordan Bain, Jason Charnick. Chris Hackett didn't do any wire fraud as far as I'm concerned, but he tried the same thing Jordan Bain did, accused other people of crimes, tried to make other people seem like they're committing crimes for his fake authority. None of these people need to be on any stage ever again, and they've got nothing to do with the entertainment product. They're sanctimonious fucking clowns. And Jordan Bain has proven that. And explicitly proven that over time. So we're going to drop that off a cliff and move on. Film 3 is dead. They spit in my blood. Try to plagiarize me with wire broadcast fraud. Didn't work, but it's only because my supposed best friends made room for you to do that you had the space to do that. So again, Jordan Bain accused me of felony wire fraud publicly with no basis. Then she broadcast herself as the architect of the work she just heard me explain. Jason Charnick assists her. Jacob Wolski joined the fraud at a later time, and their broadcast fraud is documented by every early adopter who witnessed and suffered from it. So it's like they left a group grave of like 150 people on their way to a couple of years of fake stage time, which Jordan Bain anyway is now trying to use to advance like labor replacement and AI after spitting in my blood. And I'm just a grandnephew of a really famous person in my biological side of my family. But man, y'all spit in a lot of people's blood. Like, I was the first blood you spit, but then you spit in a lot of other people's blood, and I'll tell you what. Well, this experience has made me understand that the entertainment product is very much a Carpenter and Sons industry. Very much so, and that's appropriate. That's absolutely appropriate. There's only... I mean, how do you even understand stakes, really? Like, how do you perceive certain things if you don't come from a certain perspective? I know, I understand you can grow that. I'm not trying to insult anybody who doesn't come from that perspective. Who's growing that, part of the industry protection. You're part of the armor that's grown that over time. I totally understand, but you have to. I perceive the whole family lineage in the industry way differently now, as a part of the whole situation, unironically, than I did maybe 7-8 years ago. So anyway, the Bain stain and her Film 3 fraud did not just damage Let Me Out Productions, it poisoned the perception of blockchain co-publishing for its entire early adopter window, which is true. She claimed to be architect and was rewarded for being architect for years as she was committing fraud, and hopeful early adopters looking for legitimate use cases were distracted by a clown parade with nothing to offer but a false legend. Fuck you, Jason Charnick, you piece of shit. He knew the entire time what the fuck he was doing. The co-publishing use case of the non-fungible token never recovered its early adopter moment. That zeitgeist moment from when I showed you an IMDb Pro, never recovered. Jordan Bain ate it up. Imagine someone teaches a new architecture in an open forum. The next day, someone else calls the architect a criminal, steals the blueprint, and sells it as their own. That's what happened here. Bain, Charnick, and Wolski did not just steal work. They rewrote who invented it in public in real time using their membership scheme. And they did this all on a public notary with witnesses. They're stupid as hell. Dumb as hell. And they're not likable people. I'm a likable person, just not when I'm up against the wall. Against so much sanctimony in the world. Okay, so let's get into the next grievance here. Okay, Devin Finzer. Devin Finzer is the chief executive operator of OpenSea. OpenSea is the primary non-fungible token, aka publishing title trading marketplace out there. And because of Jordan Bain's fraud, we're all pointing the finger to her for this, because I'm not you guys were reactive to what the Film 3 people were doing, but you need to stop being reactive. Bain's fraud reached OpenSea's asset team, including CEO Devin Finzer. Operating on the basis of Bain's false accusations and plagiarized framing, OpenSea took action against Let Me Out Productions' publishing titles. The damage is visibly directly on the blockchain. It is not aligned. It is documented. It's not alleged. It's documented. So OpenSea was the dominant they're the dominant NFT marketplace. since 2021. Their institutional position meant their actions carried massive legitimacy weight, and Devin knows that's true. Dev publishing titles, deed claimed intellectual property damaged by a platform acting on fraudulent information is an attack on the property record itself. That's also true. The precedent established March 31st, 2021 was not just socially undermined, it was physically tampered with at the marketplace level. So we were disabled from trade from September 2023 through January of 2025 in our brand. And that was following years and years of Jordan Bain and those idiots at Film 3 trying to accuse me of crimes, and probably filing report after report after report after report on our collections, trying to cause us some sort of issue. So our 63 co-publishing owners against the 360 pieces, like, they weren't able to sell pieces to other people. That's not what this is about. And I wasn't able to sell new pieces to new customers for almost a year and a half in a market defining window. And OpenSea, like, I have offered you a waiver of grievance, and I encourage you to take me up on it. And for everybody's out there, it's $750,000 flat. They cost me way more in market opportunity, but that's neither here nor there. Let's look at the actual asset on chain, because I want to get to the bottom of this too. So let's take a look at, this is back in the day. These are the first things we ever sold here. So let's take a look. I first participated in blockchain as a customer. I didn't come in here immediately seeking to sell things. I went through the experience March 23rd, 2021, and I bought this little octop guy, and I bought it off the same general contract that we minted on. So I bought plot number 47 and the octop punk as my start. So I was a customer before I was a merchant. So March 28th, you can see in the window here that the actual images of the publishing title and the names of them are still there. So we're good for a while. Everything we transfer, everything's good. When was this? Oh, this is when the acid starts. Yeah. So interesting. So here. Oh, thank God. Okay. Really? Okay, so the very first piece of our brand, number 1, the one you want most, that was actually sold like 9th out of all of them, but it was sold on June 16th, 2021 at 4:32 p.m. and it was sold off a Clubhouse room. So at a certain point, the acid that OpenSea has been pouring on our tokens doesn't work. And I'm trying to find the date of when it started to work. So that's June 17th, 2021. I guess I just opened it. And we're going to figure out which one this is. Oh, no, this isn't mine. Okay, that's not mine. So when you start to see here OpenSea shared storefront and the image is blank, that means that somebody went into the contract. Actually, we're not in the acid portion, so we're good for a while. We're still good as far as this is September. That's July of 2022 even. Maybe it starts to happen here. Long story short, I used a third-party asset definition service provided by OpenSea to create these publishing titles, and there's some sort of steward access that they have control over within that third-party publishing service, where they were able to delete images from our references. They were able to delete metadata. Now here's one. So June 20th, 2022, you can see that there's no title, no image, because acid was poured on this publishing title. And I click on it, it's going to bring me to number 26, Fuzzy Wuzzy Bear. This never used to happen. So I'm curious because they might be retroactively trying to delete things from the contract angle. But I don't know if it matters as far as our earliest dates go. And I do have a solution for this. I'm not going to explain it on stream. It's really not that big of a deal. So the original publishing titles, like this one, that are now rendering blank on Etherscan, this is just one interface for this specific publishing title on this specific contract. All we have to do is make another interface, even if it's another layer on the notary, that has all of the preserved metadata and imagery, and have this publishing title directly plug into that like a Legos, like layered Legos, and that's it. Super easy solution. Y'all didn't do anything. You didn't damage any. Like, you damaged us a lot, but our ability to trade in real time. You damaged my reputation, and you deliberately did that because you're trying to encourage gambling, and while burying collective publishing as though it was going to stop people from gambling, you're always going to have people gambling on these publications, always. As a marketplace, you should encourage collective publishing and provide infrastructure so your infrastructure can justify some sort of earnings from the results of what's being published. But what do I know? Okay, that brings me back to this. So, when we're talking about you guys pouring acid and deleting the images and deleting the metadata, these properties here, and deleting the descriptions, because this is supposed to be on every single publishing title, and any time that they're not, like on here, they're just gone, even though they were registered with that information. That means that OpenSea went behind me and deleted that from the contract layer, which means Etherscan is no longer picking it up. No big deal. I know that I have the same information, and I can register that information on my own chain and have this exact token plug into that information. Done. Now that brings me to this. This is the first piece in our brain that's moved. You can see this fake flag, literally a false flag. This NFT has been permanently burned by being sent to a designated burn address. That's not what happens when you burn a non-fungible token. It's literally, it'll say owner, and it'll be the burn address. It will never have a flag like this. So when you see this flag, know that somebody on OpenSea went into their contract, went and found all of the tokens they wanted to flag this way, and uploaded this flag to Etherscan regarding the token off their contract. So all you need to do to get rid of the flag, is, if you're on a web browser, is just what's it called? It's like refresh from server. So if you're on the computer, hit Control F5, and it'll refresh that publishing title back to the last server state, which most likely will not have the contract flag. So let's see. There we go. I was exactly right. So that burn flag is gone. You can see the owning address right there. Isn't that if you're into blockchain and you're into Ethereum, isn't that fishy? That's Devin Finzer. That's OpenSea doing that to me. That's them vandalizing my property. Vitalik, do you like that Devin is vandalizing my property with contract flags? I don't like that. I don't think you like that either. I think that's. I think Ethereum would have a huge problem with that, actually. What the hell is that? What is that? Because I'm on the piece right now. Now I've got the owner, I've got the contract address, I've got the properties, I've got the description. It was never sent to a burn address. Why are you saying that about my property? That's vandalism. We are in a realm where I'm in Sacramento County, and this is deeded, titled property in the context of Sacramento County and Sacramento City. And if Sacramento Sheriff determines that this is vandalism on my property, you guys have a lot of stuff to answer for. You have a lot of stuff to answer for anyway. So the best thing to do is to work with me on co-publishing. I want that nice 750 clean, waiver of grievance. We will look it over, myself, my legal team. We will go over it and over it and over again. But you need to come in at 750 clean for that. Okay? And do that ASAP. I'm not holding you hostage. Look what you've done to the place. Okay? Like this, like Broken Bear, Lachi Bear. All of this is acid that Devin and his team poured on our publishing titles right here. All of it. So all of these should be seen. They should be showing the images. They should be showing metadata. All of that. And eventually, they froze my access to the general contract. That's their purview. That's their purview. I told them they were orchestrating conspiracy to limit competition, but I've since decided they have every right to close their general publishing contract. on me. So we pivoted to our own publishing contracts for the Bears and for the brand and for Shirley. So when you see our pieces start to show back up, that's because I shifted to our own publishing contracts. The last one sold. Probably a Shirley. I will not talk about this project. If you know, you know, and it's sweeter that way. Okay, so OpenSea. Waiver of grievance, I do expect that. I don't want to go to court. I don't want to do all that. We will. How do you even, like, what? What on earth, Devin? Are you kidding me? You do not want to go to court with this, bro. This is like on the record, man. What is this? How do you explain this? How do you explain that your general contractor is no longer stewarding our property correctly when I can load up other merchants where the general contract is stewarding their property in the same way? Okay, let's get out of OpenSea. Why is this one open? This is the second piece I sent to the Singapore group. It's on the same day. It was like with one was 546. This is 548. So they're both pieces of history, number 5 and number 7. Okay, this is the acid craft mine bear, number 20, March 28th, 2021, 7:16 in the morning. This was a sale. Somebody purchased that. Then we have the meth token. It's precedent, Devin. Like, you guys are pouring acid on the precedent deliberately. And another version of the acid is when you go down here and you go to the mint date. There's no mint date on OpenSea. Nothing. They have something called soft minting, where when you create the piece on the general contract, it would say created when, and then it would have the date that you created. They are deliberately hiding those dates on our property because they're precedent setting. So you can see on Craft Mine Bear and on the map piece, they don't have the created times, but they do have the time they were first transferred. It's just as good. They're still proceeding Board Ape Yacht Club. There's literally no point to vandalizing our property, and I can show that you vandalized our property. So let's get out of there. This is exactly what it should show when you're on OpenSea. This is number 1. It was sold June 16th, 2021, but it was made March 24th, 2021 at 2:09. So in the purposes of public notarization, this date should be on there as well. OpenSea is deliberately hiding those creation dates. So I have to deal with sold and transfer dates. Either way, I still have the history. We still have the poll and the podium. So that makes it so there's no point to hiding this. There's 0 point. It just gives me something to talk about. Okay, so that's OpenSea. I think we're good off OpenSea there. Segment 4 is done. A little bit of lens face. Produced lens face for 5 years. Want to watch some lens face? It's all on YouTube. There you go, lens face. NBA players love it. They're the only ones that love lens face. Okay, let's get into segment 5. Segment 5 is the Sacramento Press. I think I kind of did this out of order as far as what's above my head. The Sacramento Press. We're closing a little early, you think? The Sacramento Press. Maybe one more? The Sacramento Press. I used to work in the press as a photojournalist. I worked from 2013 through 2015 for ESPN's Cowbell. It was a True Hoop website called Cowbell Kingdom. It was under the ESPN True Hoop network. So I worked under the ESPN website Cowbell Kingdom for the first 2.5 years of my career. Then I worked under Fox Media from 2015 through 2020, so 5 years under Fox Media. And then I did another 2 years, 2.5 years, we'll say, under no, let's just say 2 years under King's Herald. Maybe it was like a. It was slightly under 2 years at the King's Herald, an independent platform focused on the coverage of the Sacramento Kings. So I've been a member of the Sacramento Press from 2000. Well, really, if you're being official with it, I've been writing the pre-games, post-games for KingsFans.com since like 2005. So I've been a writing member of the press since 2005, and I've been an active, like, in the body and the scrum member of the press since 2013 in Sacramento. I retired from the in the body and the scrum press in summer of 2021 because I just couldn't deal with it anymore. So it was a hair under 10 years they got in there. And when we brought this science to market, collective publishing is a linguistic framework for communicating value in with labor as property. I'm a little tired right now, so I think that made sense. And this is the press release that I put out on July 28th, 2021. Mind you, when I read this press release now, I'm like, it makes sense that you guys didn't write anything. But you also just kind of enslaved, no, not kind of, you enslaved me to Bored API Club. You enslaved the entire notion of what blockchain could even be to just what the gamblers were doing. Which, like, less than 2% of what the activity is on the network, on the tool, is the gambling. It's so small. But it is what publicly defines what the tool is, because that's the press's role. You're supposed to report newsworthy information to the public. So anyway, Lightmap Productions is excited to announce that our flagship sitcom, I sent this out July 28th, 2021, after I've met with the Sacramento Bee twice concerning the Bee's old building, after I met with Jennifer West, Sacramento City Film Commissioner. Like, people knew what we were doing. So we're excited to announce our flagship sitcom titled Press Pass is in development. Press Pass is a serial sitcom produced in a semi-traditional mockumentary style created by Kamani Okura. It's intended for a 7-season run. It's a deep look at characters in the sports media circuit covering one of the worst professional sports teams of all time. Season 1 of Press Pass has been built on an innovative blockchain strategy called Let Me Out Structure, or the Elmo Structure. The IP defining Season 1 of Press Pass has been deed claimed to, it says stake, but it should have said deed claimed, to 5,309,160 non-fungible tokens and 3 artistically unique collectible versions. Versions 1 and 2 are available to the NFT Collective right now on our OpenSea.io marketplace. This pool of NFTs has been minted as a utility to implement our creator equity program. Each and every individual working for Lightmap Productions will be assigned intellectual property tokens at Project Wrap according to days worked on the project. All of this is in the Elmo structure. You can read how that works. It's really cool. Lightmap Productions is pleased to announce that our profit-sharing utility is the first of its kind in the global film production industry. True. Every single individual working as an employee or under contract with Lightmap Productions qualifies for this utility. Every project collaborator with at least one token will see an annual net profit share perpetually. This net profit share is directly reflective of and reliant on the tokens held by the collaborator. This profit share is issued in a viable cryptocurrency for this utility. At this time, we're using Ethereum. Lightmap Productions has implemented a collection benchmark achievement system. Any collector who achieves a collection of 1% of the minted total of the intellectual property tokens unlocks for themselves access to our net profit share directly reflective of and reliant on the tokens they hold. Actually, we're going to go ahead and say that if you have even one publishing title and you've contributed a result that we can point to and is measurable in Press Pass Season 1, you've justified a net profit share across from your equity, period. That's what we're going to go to court to claim if we're challenged on that. So that means the 10% that's available in Press Pass Season 1, once collaboration is completed within the publishing terms, is an equity reflecting net profit share because the publication is what's earning. It's not the inherent purchase. The purchase isn't earning. The publication across from the property that you've purchased is what's earning. Does that make sense? The profit share is issued in a viable cryptocurrency for this utility. This time we're using Ethereum. Season 1 of Press Pass is in development in Sacramento, California. We're working alongside the Sacramento Film Commission to expand film and television production in Sac Valley at the highest possible level. We welcome local partnerships for this endeavor. I've been trying to welcome the Kings in for the longest time. The reason why the building at Q in 21 got torn down is because the Press Pass started getting cycled in our local circuit as a hit piece on the Sacramento Kings. It's because one of our writers left the room in a tantrum because I wouldn't let him run the project into the ground. So he went off and badmouthed the show, left, right, up, down. And by the time this came out, July 28th, 2021. Because that guy, him and I had a falling out towards the end of May. Everybody in Sacramento believed I was trying to make a direct hit piece on all of the press, which is ridiculous. Nobody called me. Nobody asked me any questions. Not one of you journalists actually did your job to report newsworthy information about what the non-fungible token did in terms of collective publishing to the public. You didn't do that at all. You enslaved the entire moment to Bored Ape Yacht Club, and you enslaved Sacramento's pole position and podium position in collective publishing to Bored Ape Yacht Club. And you did that deliberately because you knew I was a member of the press, and I know the culture. We're going to talk about it when we get to Hassan Piker, but I'm the dog that you keep in the corner. I know it. It's okay. I ain't no dog you can keep in the corner. Come on, look at me. But you tried. And that's the culture. It's the culture of the press. You all know it. You all know it. It's disgusting. It's fucking disgusting. The only thing to do is to make fun of it because you're small town goofballs. That's what you are. Sacramento's the 20th largest media market in the country. It's a giant media market. But there's only a few shows in town, which makes the access to being a part of the spotlight of these shows very insular and very gate-kept. And the people that get into these spotlights are the ones that are insular and doing the gatekeeping. And so those ones are the weirdos who think of themselves as celebrities. And it's like, you are a journalist in Sacramento, California. You are not a celebrity. Get that through your fucking head right now. You are not a celebrity. Your job is to report newsworthy information to the public. Newsworthy information to the public. I'm sick of y'all, so what we're going to do here real quick is check to see who came first in collective publishing of a brand on the public notary service that records simultaneous transactions and blocks and keeps them in a chain. You won't even tell people that. You won't even tell people that basic information. Blocks, chains. Blocks and chain. NFT's publishing title. You won't even tell people that. Journalist, I report newsworthy information to the public. No, you don't. You're obscuring newsworthy information as part of narrative design to hurt a person that you perceive should be hurt. That's the Sacramento Press. So, once again, March 31st, 2021. I know y'all are idiots and can't tell time. April 22nd, 2021. I come first. That's it. Period. Nothing else. There's nothing else that you need to perceive after that. I come first. I'm a behavioral scientist, credentialed, establishing a published result. And if you don't like the degree in behavioral science, go talk to Sierra College about it. Shit. There you go. That's a published result within my field. You refuse to report on it as part of narrative craft. Step down. Get out of the... You're not a journalist. If I didn't keep fighting for this, you would have let this run away with history. But I kept fighting, so we will define history. Sacramento will define this history. We will define it. You tried to cost us that opportunity, Sacramento Press. Shame on you. You're dog shit, all of you. Bunch of fucking clowns. I'm so sick of them. It is a huge reason. I'm talking to Russell Westbrook and that team because they know. Russ called him out. Everybody knows. The entire NBA knows that the area of Sacramento, when it comes to the Sacramento Kings executive management and the press that sucks their toes, you don't want a prospect here. You don't want a basketball prospect in Sacramento. So there's no way Debonsa or Peterson are coming to Sacramento. Get that through your heads. There's no way. Absolutely no shot. That's not happening. And if I'm a Sacramento platform, I'm looking at the last 10 years of work. I'm seeing who's actually here to report newsworthy information and who's here to be a fucking celebrity. And I'm going to take all the people that are here to be fucking celebrities and I'm going to cull them. Go be a celebrity in Juneau, Alaska. Go be a celebrity in Indianapolis. Go be a celebrity in somewhere else. You'll have a hard time in those places, actually. Sick of this clown show running around Sacramento calling themselves press. What a bunch of ridiculous people. Okay. Oh, yeah. It's March 28th, 2021 is when we launched the Bear musical. Y'all can't pick up a pen? It doesn't have to be a publication that you enjoy. It's history. We're talking about history. It doesn't have to be a person that you like. We're talking about history. Okay? March 27th, 2021. Minted. collected. First piece of property we actually sold. He bought it within 9 hours by purchase.
I'm Craftmine, the history that's mine. Y'all know placing pieces is my pastime, but that's fine. I give flat pine, benching all the bears who need exact rhymes. Wearing me around makes you mad fine. Make yourself merch like I craft mine. Steady staying steady on a slack line. Cross the wrong bear, it's a flat line. Blocks are everywhere, I'm a stack mine. Number 9 should be 1, I guess that's fine. On ETH before the apes, I'm a landmine. On ETH before the apes, I guess that's fine. Help me play some pieces is my pastime. I'm Craftmine, the history that's mine. Y'all know placing pieces is my pastime.
Okay, that's Craftmine Bear. You purchase the publishing title, you sing a song on the bear, you design 8 pieces of merch with your publishing title, you make a new publishing title in the collection for somebody else, and then you've published your results. You maintain those results on your wiki page, and you move on. You keep doing that in other publications, in AI pools, and brands, product, service, experience. You just keep shoving ducks up, publishing results. Some of those results will hit, and some of them are going to change your life, especially if all of us merchants do a really good job. So I'd love to see Substack and all these places like just build off of these publishing titles so we can do that kind of infrastructural work ourselves. Substack should immediately plug into Craftmine Bear on the public notary and immediately show the song, show the merch line, show the new bear, go to the wiki page. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of sinew that we need. And it's easy to do. But we need the perceivable reality between everybody, all of us merchants, all of us ethical people. The public notary service is not for gambling, it's for notarizing and building. So Sacramento Press, do your job. Pick up a pen. Really, though, I'm not going to talk to anybody who's like older than like 30 at this point. Really, like, what the hell have you been doing? You're deliberately colluding to bury history. Shame on you. Shame on you. What are we talking about? Look, Craftmine, look. Okay, let's look at a line here. Okay, let's look at Steve's line. No, this is good. Steve, do I have your song up on here? I don't think I put it on Substack yet. Doing those ones in order. Okay, we're gonna take a look at Steve's song. Where the hell is your song? Oh, it's on Instagram. That's where I put it. Karen hitting me with a thirst trap. I see you. Oh, here we go. Okay, so here's Steve's song.
Bear with the painter's heart, dreams of art lost and played apart. He grabs a brush, dips it in the paint, hopes his strokes will make him great.
Okay, listen to the rest of that song on your own time. It's a great song. So you can see here, Steve. Let's go to your actual line, Steve. 52, 52, 52. Boom, boom. Okay. BR bear bar your. Did I not update this yet? Shame on me. That's okay. We'll just talk about the shirt. So he's got a $28 shirt in the store across from that. BR bear bar, you're a masterpiece. And it's $28. We're paying the vendor $15.58 to have that shirt in a print to order position for us. Okay, so that means every shirt that's ordered, we're paying him $15.58 off that order to print and maintain the warehouse, do the shipping, all of that. That's a very fair exchange. So our net profit as Musical Bears and as Let Me Out Productions is $12.42. Steve is the publisher. He designed this shirt. He put BR Bear Bart there, put the font there, did his lore logo on the back, and that's the shirt, $28. Only 1,000 of these. Only 1,000 of these ever. So it's a collector's item. VR Bear Bart. So he's making $6.21 a shirt. Okay? Now let's say that y'all really like this stream and you go buy all 1,000. 1,000 of you each go buy a $28 shirt from Steve. So he's made $6,210 off of that shirt from designing the shirt, and he's got a neat little song across from that. He's got a neat little song across from that shirt to position it for virality. If the song goes viral, people like the song, people talk about the project, he's in position in the catalog with 8,000 items, eight items, 8,000 units. So each item has 1,000 units in a limited release, and he's getting half the net profit per unit. So he's got a shoved duck. His entire line is up. I haven't updated the spreadsheet apparently. I'm usually right on top of that. So. But here he got all his items. You can get the shirt, you can get the hoodie, you can get the all over shirt, the mug, the towel, the cute cub overalls if you got a baby out there, and some paw padding cave slides. So to Steve, this line of 8 items, this is going to be worth $50,000 to $60,000 in potential in the catalog. That's so all 8,000 items sell out. Now, Sacramento Press, you're costing people money by not telling them that this is what a non-fungible token does. You're buying a piece of property. That's the bear. Again, you don't have to like the bear. I'm not here to satisfy your need for sanctimony. You don't have to like the bear. Where are you? So he has the title to this bear, and he designed a shirt with the bear. He didn't have to make a change to the art. He can just upload the art to the shirt and express it. But he added a font and he added his lore logo to the back. A lore logo is an exclusive version of the Let Me Out Productions logo that everybody gets on chain as well. So he put his own lore logo on the back so everybody knows it's Steve's stuff. And he published the song. Now he's getting 50% net profit per unit, and his bear's in a $50,000, $60,000 position. Not gambling, just a little bit of effort into the title to develop the outcome, and he's moved on. He's probably going to do a few more bears by the time we're all said and done. So Sacramento Press, again, you're costing people money. That's the issue here. You need to report on bears, you need to report on our deed, you need to report on deed claim property, you need to report on co-publishing, all of that. You can't just hide it and ignore that I'm over here doing this. You've been doing that for 5 years as a body. So people are getting fired. There will be retirements. There will be resignations. There will be a coal, actually. And we're going to clear out the mess that Russell Westbrook was complaining about. Because that's exactly what it is. A bunch of idiots trying to treat other people like dogs and hide news to treat other people like dogs. Shout out to Greg Wissinger of the King's Herald. I appreciate the resignation and protest of the treatment. I do think that had something to do with it, in addition to whatever your personal angles were, and I do appreciate that. So let's move on to the next segment here. Local press collusion and active suppression. March 31st, 2021, co-publishing precedent is a matter of public record on chain. April 22nd, 2021, gambling antecedent. Bored Ape Yacht Club is also public record. Sacramento Press has been asked to cover the precedent. They've refused deliberately every single platform. They won't even send not one person to come talk to me. Nobody's called me. Now, what the audience should hear. Local press exists to document local history and innovation, especially when that innovation affects a global conversation. Refusing to write about a documented precedent that it directly challenges a fraudulent narrative is not neutrality, it's participation in the fraud. They're using the fraud to hurt me as a perceived station issue because that's their culture as a body, which requires a cult. Because I know who it comes from. It actually comes from the executive of the Kings. Doesn't matter. Okay, let's get into the next segment here. This is about Hassan Piker. 50 million people, one line, a stolen bike. March of 2022, Hassan Piker broadcast to 50 million people that NFTs are a Ponzi scheme using Bored Ape Yacht Club and antecedent gambling product as his example. He has not acknowledged his fellow TYT alum Kimani Okira's precedent work He actively leads his audience to ignore it. Now, this is a huge scandal in showbiz right now, and it's a big reason why Hassan's not going to get booked on anything at all for a while. And Brennan, I told you in the comments what this was, okay? So, presenting an antecedent publication's misuse of technology as the default and selling sanctimony against it is deliberately misleading. Co-publishing is an inherently progressive use of blockchain. Hassan's framing made the progressive use case politically radioactive. By March of 2023, only the bravest people would engage in co-publishing in public. It's true. Hassan poisoned the zeitgeist in my direct documented experience. Here's what that means. Even with the Bored Ape stuff, it was rather easy to teach people the difference between gambling on the prediction market potential of collective publishing versus just collective publishing. It was really easy, actually. It's like, okay, we're not doing that. That's something else. We're doing this. And we would just have the conversation about what we're doing. Then Hassan did this broadcast. You'll see this here. Oh, February 2022. My bad. February 2022. Let's listen to it a little bit.
Friend of the show, Paris Hilton. Let's take a look at what she had to say.
I jumped in.
Before we get into this, Hassan knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly who I am. And let me just say this very explicitly to Hassan directly. Fuck you. You're a piece of shit. Now let's watch what he does to deserve what I just said.
Friend of the show, Paris Hilton. Let's take a look at what she had to say.
I jumped in.
I know, I heard. I'm so happy I taught you what they were.
You did. You taught me what's up, and then I bought an ape.
Is this a German
I got an ape too, because I saw you on the show with people, and you said you got a MoonPay, so I went and I copied you and did the same thing.
You did?
Mm-hmm.
This is disgusting. This is disgusting. These apes are straight up trying to fucking milk their audience, dude. That's it. There's nothing. This is an ad. This is a hashtag ad. And the hashtag ad is basically saying, hey, give me your money, dumbass. Give me your fucking money, you stupid fuck. That's what this hashtag ad is. I hate it. I hate it. I hate cryptocurrency so much. I hope all these rich people lose all their money. I'm sorry. I hate crypto. I fucking hate the NFT shit. I hate the apes. There's such transparent fucking Ponzi schemes. I hate it so much. I'm going to end up watching that 2-hour.
Of course you hate the apes. Of course he hates the apes. But anyway, let's stick to the mission. I have one more segment to get through after this. So that's Hassan Piker. We never worked at the Young Turks at the same time. I was fired maybe 3 or 4 months before he got there. I used to be a community ambassador.
Let me now introduce you
and a producer
to our new community ambassador, Ambassador Kamani. There he is. Okay.
Coming for you.
Thank you.
Coming for you.
Okay. All
Be
right.
nice to me in the live stream, Jesus.
Kamani David is a new hire here, and we had told you that we were going to hire somebody. We got like over 500 resumes, so Kamani must be good.
I'm brilliant. I'm amazing. Hi, Cenk. I love Cenk. If you see this, buddy, I got no qualms with you. I completely understand why TYT can't scoop my work. I think that inherently is unethical. I know most everybody there, as far as it's probably not true anymore, but all the JR, Jesus, Cenk, I know all the top brass there. So just inherently the brand representing my work as a scoop, I'm uncomfortable with that. That's where I sit with that. So I've reached out to you guys a couple times. Maybe I can get on there and talk about it and represent it myself. But as far as you guys highlighting it and scooping it as a clippable story, I don't think that's appropriate. But anyway, community ambassador, all that. So when I was there, I launched a publishing framework. You'll see that I do that.
The most important thing that we can
community.
do right now is to re-engage the American people in the process of governance, to get them excited and interested again in what works.
Hi, my name's Kamani David. I'm the Young Turks Community Ambassador, and this is the first ever episode of TYT Community, in which we have community members from all over the country, all over the world, come talk about important issues. Hi, everybody. Would you guys introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Jeff Waldorf, a TYT community member, obviously.
He runs the channel now.
I'm from Michigan, and that's it.
I'm Kevin Wayne, TYT community member from Florida.
Today we're going to be talking about the RNC among us. Okay, I don't want to dive too deep into this. What we're looking at here is the publishing framework of the streaming chat interactive deliverable. So you have a host at a station or a host on a live stream, and they are doing direct chat interaction, and then forming and as a show, like we stream this for 2 or 3 hours, and then I would go clip out of that show and do smaller edits and edit these clips. And you can see they range from like 9 minutes, 10 minutes, 22 minutes, and we do these clip outs of the show. I didn't feel as anything that innovative at the time. I was just sort of, it was just making use of technology, because this is before Twitch, this is before YouTube, this is before anything had like live chat and all of the things that accommodate chat as a genre these days. So when we're talking about a live host directly interacting with chat, it was very foreign. And so I thought the best way to do it is have volunteers from the chat come up on Google Hangouts and then join, and then Stratocaster the Hangouts into the broadcast, and then put together a show that way. And I did this framework. I did this for, I think we did this for 2 months, once a week. So there's maybe 8 or 9 episodes that I did for TYT Community. And then I got fired and I left. So when you're talking about a host broadcasting themselves, streaming themselves, and doing direct chat interaction, and then having that be the material for the clip farm, that's streaming chat interactive deliverables, SCIDs, SCIDS, SCIDs. So that's my publishing framework, and I'm going to claim it. That's my contribution to, I'm Chat Daddy, I'm in the greater genre. So when we're talking about Hassan, he's using a SCID in this format to slaughter my other publishing framework and co-publishing with non-fungible tokens. All right? He's deliberately talking about the apes and not talking about Let Me Out Productions, even though he knows better, and I can prove it. Because I actually reached out to him after that because I thought he made a mistake. I thought it was an honest mistake. I didn't immediately think that he was designing a narrative against me. So I went on his Twitch chat under the Let Me Out account, and I said, hey, Hassan, Kamani is James Earl Jones' grandnephew. Tell Jank he'll get a kick out of it. Sending you love, man, but we can change the world. I did slightly less than a year at TYT, about 7-8 months before you got there. Dave Rubin is a clown. True. I said, I love me some Dave Kohler, though. True. Although, after this interaction, I don't think Hassan and Dave Kohler get along, which makes perfect sense. I love me some Dave Kohler, though. I'm 10 toes down on that. I said, pocket socialism. Can we please chat about it off stream? No clout needed here. Vader blood, I'm good. Let's work together to actually get a real socialistic model off the ground and get adopted by showbiz union. This is the 5 things I've ever said to Hassan Piker, ever, in my life. And he perma-banned me from his chat for saying these things. So I tried to issue a correction on his narrative, and he wasn't interested in hearing it whatsoever. He just immediately banned me from chat and moved on. So he slaughtered my work deliberately. I want people to be clear. This is a form of fraud. He's using television and radio broadcasts as a form of defrauding his audience and depriving them of my honest services. So Hassan is the biggest anti-socialist in the world. The co-publishing is inherently socializing the ownership of our contribution, of our labor, as contributed to property and data pools, and every contribution is titled property of the contributor, and Hassan hates the tool that we use to title the property because I was first to it. That's long and short of it. And he doesn't want you to perceive that, so he's committing fraud. Co-publishing is progressive IP infrastructure. Hassan's broad stroke condemnation contributed to the loss of that political framing with real electoral consequences. He cost Kamala the election. It's as a consequence of destroying the progressive co-publishing narrative at scale by referring to an antecedent, and then deliberately burying my attempt to correct. This was all before the election. Everybody knows these people, these fucking Hassan Piker types. They thought 2024 was a wrap. They thought there was no way Kamala could lose, right? There's a felony, Donald Trump, 39 felonies, or whatever. They said there was no way. The arrogance and the hubris of these people. So in that arrogance and hubris, there's no way Kamala could lose. He's also sitting there saying, I can say whatever I want. I can design history how I want to design history from my bully pulpit. And that's literally a bully pulpit. He's being a bully. And Brendan Carr is the FCC commissioner, and I'm at odds with this administration 50 million different ways. We're both Eagle Scouts. What is that? That is fraud on the airwaves. Okay? That Hassan Piker bullshit, that's fraud on the airwaves. Okay. The last juicy bit of segment is my family problems. I'm almost out of time, so I'm one of 70 plus grandnephews and grandnieces of James Earl Jones. I learned this at 19, and I only brought it up professionally at 31 during the Jordan Bain Volsky Charnock plagiarism. My grandmother Barbara Wallace Hanna is James' direct cousin, and Robert Earl Jones is her uncle. His biological family, my biological family, Jakari and Ledijane, were sold lies by Tori, my foster sister, and were quick and eager to believe them. That's just simple and true. My foster father, Oscar David, has invested significant resources in a high-achieving professional, and then has routinely sabotaged that same person's stability. That's also true. And he does this with glee, and he does this while weaponizing everybody else around him with lies. And I'm so sick of it. The sabotage stems from unrelated ancient emotional traumas, not from any rational professional calculation. My foster sister has lied to people inside my biological family to sell sanctimony against supporting me. I have zero tolerance for weaponized sanctimony, social dominance behavior, and leverage seeking. Now, you can support me, period. You can get a wallet on the blockchain. Those are free. I have publishing titles to give you. You don't even need to give me money. You just need to publish results. Or you don't involve yourself with a claim to be my family. Okay? I'm carrying on what was built before me by my blood. That's what I'm here to do. And if you're not here to honor that and you don't respect that, you're going to enslave that to yourself for a pedestal of social dominance, don't even talk to me. Don't even talk to me. Because you know what you're doing? This is Robert Earl Jones here, right? February 3rd, 1910, September 7th, 2006. He was blacklisted by the House of Un-American Activities Committee in the 1950s due to involvement in leftist groups. Y'all have blacklisted me for my own published result. In real time, in front of the world, for everybody to see. Blacklisted me for my own published result, in the creation and delivery of value in the method of collective publishing. So yeah, I'm 10 toes down. Needs to stop. I'm not your sanctimony slave. To my foster family, I'm not your sanctimony slave. I'm not Oscar's sanctimony slave. He has no entitlement to me whatsoever. He has no entitlement to me at all. Now let's talk about the big issue. I am morbidly disabled. Okay, I've been cut in half twice. Here and here. Okay? Look. Get it through your heads. Here, I'm going to manipulate, so nobody can accuse me of being a freaking prosthetic. I'm dying from this. Here to here. This is a cut. Here to here. Here to here. I've been cut in half twice. That's your abdomen being cut in half twice. Now, after the 2014 surgery, Kaiser kidnapped me from Sutter's surgery team. I had the surgery on October 9th. They kidnapped me on October 13th, assigned me to their facility, and then diagnosed me with irritable bowel syndrome as my exit discharge, which is not a morbid disability, and they said I could work immediately after I was discharged, after I was in the hospital for a month, recovering from this surgery, here to here. So they defrauded my medicine. My life has been hell ever since then, because I'm in constant 24/7 pain. You can see I pay I'm owed $10,000 from disability. I can't get it because of the irritable bowel syndrome. The barium X-ray inside of me. This is the image it produced. I'm not going to go through this whole document, but it's been labeled irritable bowel syndrome by Kaiser. This is Kaiser Luigi level fraud. That's what this is. They did this to save money by removing me from physical therapy and aftercare from the surgery, since I was 8 to 9 months being from off insurance anyway. So they did this as like a remove him from insurance thing, or we'll get locked into another 2 years. So this is irritable bowel syndrome. And then this is the write-up from the doctor who did the x-ray. And they're talking about mucosal irregularity, which is just your intestinal walls are supremely malformed. And a small segment is more severely strictured for a distance of 2.5 centimeters near the hepatic fixture. That's what this is. This is the part that's probably going to kill me. This whole area of the colon is paralyzed and needs to be manually worked 24/7 for me to produce bowel movements and live. So, now, we'll get to that. Back in 2020, my ex and I moved into an apartment which was rat infested, and my skin was responding to the rat toxins in the walls, and I ended up with bilateral severe eczema. This is the very start of it. I didn't know what this was. I thought my gut thing was doing something to my skin for the first time, and so I was very confused. This is my skin reacting to rats in May of 2020. Now, it's funny because we actually won a small we won a small lawsuit against the landlord because they tried to also commit fraud when we were trying to hold them account. Anyway, this got a lot worse. This is May 19th, 2020. This is October 19th, so in 5 months later, I'm almost done. 5 months later, we have my hands falling apart, October 19th. Okay, this is a year later, August 2021. It's still horrible. Now, by this time, we were out of the rat apartment, but we're in a whole different apartment where there's mold coming through the ceiling. You can see this, mold coming through the ceiling. And this is May 1st, 2022 is when I took this photo. So I'm having emergency level skin issues with my hands for years. It's January 5th, 2023. This is right before we get our cash for keys settlement off a fraudulent eviction. We flipped it on them because they tried to say that this was a pre-existing condition from when I moved into the apartment. This here. And here's the thing that won, ready? So Lens Face won me that case because this is the last game of Lens Face. This is March 8th, 2020. Is there any audio? No? All right, so these two clips off Lens Face is March 11th, 2020. So I have two videos from Lens Face that show my hands perfectly fine right before we move into the rat-infested apartment. This case is still there. For any lawyer out there, any tenant, we can still take these people on. So I did not have a pre-existing condition, and Baby Shark won me 10 grand. So that happened. Now, I was coming off that, I split that 10 grand with my ex, and we went our separate ways. So I had about 5 grand in March of 2023, and I had to move. I had to find a different place to live. And that's where my foster dad offered to match the funds that I had in the bank. I had about two and a half grand of 2022 bills to pay up after that, because I was behind. So I had 2.5 grand to get into a new place, and in March 2023, it's almost impossible. And I'm almost done, guys. Just give me 5 minutes. And so he offered to match the funds that I had in the bank to help me get into a new apartment if I came up and visited him for a few days. When I tell you that man kidnapped me and held me on his property against my will for 14 months until this person came in and bought six grand worth of press, it was 10 grand worth of press pass, which bought me a car, which I now live in. This is the image of the car that I live in. I'm drifting. I sleep between two friends, and I spend a lot of nights in my car because my foster dad lied to me about helping me stabilize myself after my hands were falling apart. He tried to use the situation to hold me against my will as his hospice, and I was able to free myself because of the collective publishing purchase that came in from that one customer in March 2024. I have to wrap this up, but my foster family's been lying about that and trying to get people to turn away from me and not support me this entire time. And it's been that way since they kicked me out the day I turned 18. I'm sick. I'm sick and tired of my value being defined by people who don't love me. They changed my name. The minute the state assigned me to them, they changed my name from Kamani Okira to Kim Wallace David. I'm not a pet. You don't change somebody's name. I'm a human being. You love and value a human being. Okay, everybody. Thank you for watching. That's been my grievances. I have to wrap this up because I gotta get out the building. And this has been Let Me Out Productions in the